Hi everyone, it's Carolyn, here to share another channeled message from the Light Keepers, a group of angelic beings I channel for your awakening journey support. So today's channel is real interesting, and it's longer, but it deals with our cellular memory, and it's pretty profound. And I'm going to give you some examples of some things that are happening to me in 2019 that tie directly to this. I actually think they kind of wanted this channel to come to me so I would understand better what's been happening, but it's clearly for everybody else because others are going through this too. So I can't wait to share this with you. But first, welcome to my YouTube channel, Carolyn Zaiser. For those of you who are new, I appreciate you joining me as I do everybody else who always joins me. But for those of you who are new, I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer these channels for your awakening journey support. And in the description box below, you're going to find a video for you on flow, how to create flow in your body for health and wellness, which is a foundation of moving forward in the awakening journey. And then what it does is it leads you to a lot more free content that I offer you. So welcome. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get going. And then at the end, what I'll do is I'm going to share some of my perspectives on this and also some of my journey, because I think it's a pretty powerful channel. So here we go. Cellular memory is a sign of the times today, exuding from the body. So many things that you brought in that you don't even know in the great ascension of today. Body shifts and changes, it is true, as the energies come in. But there is so much that humans do not understand, too. But those who are awakening often begin to experience more knowings in their way of how this works in their day. But we wish to explain why so many of the things that may be happening to you that you do not understand in your bodily ways are happening to you today. First and foremost, know it is true, multiple past lives, eons most of you have lived too. And we say in this life, in the most important time of humankind, with the ascension we say in your way, clearing and lightening up is what you are here to do. And oftentimes, cellular memory is cleansed in most people, even those who are not awakening today. For it is about everyone ascending. For some have chosen to awaken, others have not too, but all are going through cellular memory clearing today. We wish to explain what this means for you in your way. First and foremost, past lives are not always cleared or managed in that life that has been lived. Sometimes trauma comes that has never been dealt with in that past life, or stuffed away, or suddenly life slips away, and the soul never had time to understand what happened or to process it. The spirit and the body disconnects. And yet in their way, when one incarnates, cellular memory stays and brings into the body. A separate consciousness, the body is too. Deep in the DNA, we say these memories stay. And now during this time of ascension, we find are exuding through the body. It is true. Strange symptoms one may find, and often not knowing what to attach it to. But we are here to tell you today that you have chosen many of these lives to let the body exude of these memories in your way. For deep in the cells, stuffed down feelings, emotions too, trauma we say, burdens in your way, things that were never dealt with in that day of certain situations. This is not karma that we speak of. That is something separate. This is cellular memory and focuses on the body and the mind. This is the situation we speak of today. So know that these are situations where emotions and actions affected the bodily cells, and know that in this carnation, you may be feeling things you do not understand at all in your day. Things that stick with you for days or weeks. Oftentimes, illness will find you. We say things that come out of the blue. Rashes and skin issues. Bone structure begins to change. Joints hurt and are in pain. Sometimes the body feels like it is falling apart. But most often this is temporary, it's true. Clearing a past life, an incident, we say, is what is happening. As we mentioned, most often of deep emotion that has been stuffed away into the cells. not having dealt with in that life or having the chance to. And now in this life, as one lightens up to ascend in time, all of this is coming to the surface. And the energies of the planets and the ascension are assisting with this. Oftentimes, you will find that these coincide with the moon, full moon and new moon. Something new coming in your way. Often it can be traumatic too, in the sense of emotional. And you may find yourself crying and wondering why you're so depressed, not being able to attach it to anything that makes sense in this life. But most importantly, we give you this information today because we wish for you to know that this is normal. Do not get concerned or worried that you can't identify where it comes from. Just continue to take care of your vessel and your mental health in any which way. Which is why we have spoken often of how one needs to keep flow open and taking care of the body, the vessel too. Meditating in your way, all the things we have spoken of in the past. We will not repeat this again here, but these are things that can help you through these times. Know they will come in your way, most often starting at the new moon or full moon in your way. You can almost track these things. Many can in their day. Other situations can be far-reaching, often clearing even more trauma, which is at times why many find they have different situations of illness come their way that they have never known before in their day, and cannot describe it in human language. For it feels similar, but it's different, and it can rarely be explained too. So know that as you feel this way, strange things coming in, as we have mentioned today, this is all for the good of who you are. Brave ones, yes, you are. It is true. Coming in to clear mountains of things that came in from past lives. Not just dealing with this life, we say, but all, yes, to ascend in your day to make lighter, to feel the grace, we say, of this awakening in your day, and to shift in humankind. For as we mentioned, this is not just happening to those who are awakening. It is happening to all. So many times those who feel these symptoms, sometimes severe, and others more subtle, we say, go to their doctors and they say they don't know what is going on with them today. So do not fear, do not worry, and do not strive. These are things that must be cleared in your body. And the difference is that the energies from the planets in the solar systems, and particularly upgrades too, can often be toned down in your way. Particularly upgrades, when you ask your spirit team, your angels and your guides to help you too. But the situations with clearing past lives is something one must go through. Toning down is not an option, for this is about clearing the cell memory. So one does not take this forward, for one must be lighter than grace in their way for the great ascension today. So know that this will continue across the way. It is true. Sometimes subtle, and you won't even notice you are clearing. And most will never be able to identify in their way what past life it is. But others will know, and as they begin to learn their own past lives through one way or another, coming in many ways, the important ones being known for this life, and which they are attached to, and why they are now experiencing a clearing of whatever they had stuffed down or not been able to deal with, we say. This is a natural process of cleansing and clearing for the crystalline nature of your new day. We ask you to reach out to us, it is true, assisting you in all that you are clearing. One must go through this, yes, we say, but we are always here by your side, supporting you along this ascension today. In light and love, we leave you this day. So, this channel, I feel, is here to very, I would say, generally explain why a lot of the things we're experiencing we do not understand. And honestly, to the point they made, can oftentimes feel like it reminds me of the flu or reminds me of getting, I don't know, poison ivy, but it's not the same. There is something, I'll just say metaphysical or otherworldly about it. Something's going on in our body. And when you are firmly rooted in the awakening and start to understand and feel and get connected to yourself and what's going on with the changes, You're going to start to notice, most of you, strange little things coming your way. Now, I'm going to give you some examples. Mine are fully attached to past lives. I know them specifically. I work with a couple other people who are friends of mine, and we delve into a lot of this when we have things coming our way. And as we talk to each other, we start getting more information, and there are a lot of synchronicities that happen. So those of you who have friends who also bring in information, this is a really great exercise to go through with them, so you can kind of start understanding what are they picking up with what you're going through. Okay, it's pretty powerful because, you know, when things happen to us that we don't understand, we bring in a lot of fear. All right, and when we start understanding what this potentially is about, particularly if you can attach it to a particular past life, then it starts to make more sense and the fear goes away. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to feel more comfortable through the process, but if you can't pick up on a past life, don't worry about that. Just know that if you're experiencing something that can be traumatic, and I'm going to talk about a few of these, or that's very physical, you're probably clearing something right now in the midst of this awakening, because 2019 is a huge clearing year. You guys have heard me talk about this before in the channels I've done with respect to 2019. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of me. I have had this in spades, and I'm going to tell you right now, before 2019, I kind of was one of those people that said, wow, I'm not affected by this part. I haven't felt anything. You know, I'm doing good physically. Everything's feeling great. Oh no. 2019 happened in January, and every time we've had a moon event, full or new, something significant has happened. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. Right now, and I'm not feeling that great today, I'm at the height of a supercharged skin rash. I would show it to you. It's on the back of my neck. It looks like a collar, and it is frightening. And I did a bit of a little freak out, but I work in this realm enough to know that this was something going on. Well, it started with the solstice, okay? And as much as people want to say about, oh, the amazing energy's coming in and blah, 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 yeah, I get that. But guess what? We all react to things differently, these shifts and changes, and a lot of times these moon and sun events exude out things to us. So know that. You can also not only new and full moon, but the solar situations. So I have acquired recently this horrible rash. It's broken out in 3 major places. One, which is my neck, it looks like a band. It looks like a collar, okay? And frankly, I won't go into all the detail of past lives because this will take a long time for this video. But the point is this was a traumatic life on another planet that I know about and learned about as I started getting this rash. And so what's happening is I'm clearing these metals that were inside of me from this life. Now, some of you may say, that's just fantastical. What? Oh no, it's real. And I would never have imagined this in a million years before my awakening. But this was a very traumatic life in a mining situation where I was in servitude, okay? Collared, tattooed, branded. It was not good. It was horrific, all right? I'm clearing this life now because one of the big things for me in my lifetime, this lifetime, I know, and it's a message and sign that has come through, is freedom. Freedom is first and foremost a theme throughout my life. And a lot of the choices I've made in my life have to do with that word. Well, guess what? You're also exuding through your body the things you need to exude, all right? And rid yourself of and lighten yourself of so that you can achieve the things you came in to have and do. Freedom, slavery, servitude. I'm exuding those metals that were in me. Long story, but anyway, suffice it to say, it was real. And now I have a rash that is unbelievable. I feel like I have hives. I don't feel well. Today, I think, is the height of it. I've had it now for a week. And yeah, so I'm just trying to lean into it. And I will tell you, many of you have probably had skin rashes, hopefully not as severe as mine. And yet don't go into freak out mode, whatever these situations are. And sure, you can go to your doctor, but I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of these things just have to happen. And for example, in my situation right now, antihistamines aren't doing me a bit of good, which would normally help in a rash situation. It doesn't itch, fortunately. Some of you will have that. I am using, for this kind of situation, some really natural methods, trying all kinds of things. But I have to just let it happen. And like they said, these are the situations that have to come out of your body. All right. So that's an example. Skin rashes, and they're not fun. I've never had one of these before until now. Emotional situations. So I have a druid life that I know very specifically about. I also know, and again, I'm not going to go into all the detail because it'll take a while to talk about it. I know that I held a powerful position in that life, and yet I did something as the Romans were coming in to assist our culture for the future, but no one understood that. And I was nearly banished and also nearly killed as a result of that, because it was a big no-no to channel information and then to, I forget what I did with it, share it or something. I don't remember exactly. But the point is what happened is I immediately, when I found out about all this, and this uncovered over a period of a couple of months with a couple other people, what I learned was that after that episode of being able to survive and still live in that community, I thought in my human self that I was being banished and shunned by everyone, when in reality that wasn't real. I was shaming myself and banishing myself. And that's the feeling I was starting to get, because I thought it was about everybody else doing that to me, not myself. Oh no. And what we know, everyone knows this, is when you shame and banish yourself and treat yourself with disdain, as I was doing in that life, that's the worst kind that can happen. You'd rather be shamed from everybody else than shamed from yourself, because you can't get away from yourself. You can't stop that feeling. And it was a repeat cycle. So guess what? Once I find out about this, all of a sudden I spend a week in that space of that life, of that feeling, of that horrible shame and dread. And literally, I fell into the greatest depression for a week. And I have never had such a feeling of dread, despair, and what felt like end of life. And all I could do was lean into it. I knew what was happening, but I couldn't change it or make it go happen faster. It had to be experienced. I had to know that feeling. I had to get it out of me. I could not allow that to continue moving forward with me during this time, carrying that shame, carrying that guilt. I went through a week of, honestly, hell, all right? And then it subsided. I cleared that life. I have another life. Let's think about this. I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay. This was in January. This is all this year. I've had something every month. Big, okay? And I have been able to attach it all but one time to a life that I know about. January was, I was deathly ill for a week. I am not kidding you. I never get sick. I had the flu, but it wasn't the flu. It wasn't normal. It was almost interstellar. But it had to do with a life where I ended my own life. And I know about this very specifically. But here was the thing. What I had to learn, I had to feel that feeling of the depths of suffering and pain again that I brought on myself. I had to feel it again. It was not good. And I got super sick as a result. Super, super sick. For a week. This is not me. I never get sick. I had this horrible illness. I knew something was up. I knew also was able to finally attach it to this life. And I also have, and we're not going to get into karma, but lots of times karma can be attached to these lives too. I had big karma on this one, because when you end your life, there are contracts that you did not complete during that life. And so then you have to repeat those over again. Okay, that's really what that's about. So I came in, repeated a lot of what I had to do again in this life that I now understand more fully because of that karmic situation. However, I had to exude, this is the point, that's karma. I had to work with another person on that, right? This is exuding this from my own body, my own being, my own emotions, dealing with these emotions again that I never dealt with, understanding where I went wrong, why I could have reached out to somebody else to help me. And there were other options at that time for myself that I did not pursue because I was so drawn into myself. It's a long story and they're all fascinating, but suffice it to say, yeah, I ended my life and affected a lot of other people and was not able to complete contracts that we all have. And if I haven't talked about contracts in the past, many of you know about this, that we bring in and we have contracts that we complete with people. Well, when we end our own lives, guess what? Those contracts can't be completed. So I'm giving you some examples today of things that can happen. You can have extreme physical illness that doesn't suit you, that it doesn't feel like you. And it depends on the life too. And like I said, you're not always going to know your life. I'm just tapped in that way. And just know that if you're feeling these things, you are exuding it out. It may take days, it may take weeks. Oh, and I want to share another one with you because I think in the past people have asked me to share these more specifics, so that's why this is a little longer video. So then we've got another life, and this was wild. This was in February. I know of a life that I have in Spain during the Inquisition where I was tortured and killed, and I was running what maybe you would define as a mystery school then. But back then, the more kind of esoteric ways of being, I was tortured terribly and succumbed and died in that. Long story. Anyway, and I've gone through the detail of this, and I even know who the players are in it, which is fascinating. Fascinating. So that said, I was dealing with understanding this life during this particular week, and I think it was in February of this year. And suddenly, I felt like my entire left side was being pulled apart. Like I remember walking down my hallway, and it was like my arm dislocated. It was almost like my shoulder dislocated for an instant, and I thought, what was that? And then popped back in. And I didn't understand that at the time. But then I was able to hearken back to a session that I had had previously at one of our metaphysical shops where they had picked up about 6 months before in a very traumatic life. I was able to then identify it. They said my left side was extremely tortured. That came back in. Okay, so you're going to start putting patterns together for those of you who kind of understand some of this in some of your past lives. Okay, so then I also had a situation where, like, this is the same life where I was walking one day and I was starting to feel like my hip was literally dislocated. Well, this is all the trauma that happened in that life to me. I never was able to process it in that life because I died a very traumatic death. And so my soul leaves my body and there's trauma going with it. And so cellular memory shows back up now to clear, okay? Think of the stuff we have carried with us. No wonder we have so many issues in human society. No one understands this either. We've never been taught this, because all of this has been hidden from us for years. So this is part of a lot of different videos that I could go on and on about. But what I want you to understand today is don't freak out when you're starting to have really crazy symptoms, okay? That you don't understand, that are coming through emotionally or physically in weird ways that you feel are different, that you've not experienced before. This is a huge clearing year. Huge, huge, huge clearing year. I cannot emphasize this enough. And what I will tell you is that this is something we have to go through. We have to be able to clear these things, and they will go away for the most part. I know there are many of you out there who have had severe medical issues throughout your lifetimes and are dealing with clearing those now. Those aren't always attached to past lives, but many times they are, okay? And I'll just say to you now, just lean into it. Know that the awakening is here to assist you in clearing, becoming well in your way, lightening that load. And I hope today has been helpful to you in understanding something that is a really serious topic as we go through the awakening, because it can be scary when we don't understand it, when we feel so alone, when we have horrific symptoms like, honestly, I have now. And I'm not fearful at all, but I got a little freaked out this morning because I wasn't feeling good. I still am not. But the point is, it will go away. And I'll try to remember to update you guys on this as we move forward. But I hope you have enjoyed this video today. I hope it helps you move forward in some of the more, honestly, kind of traumatic things in the awakening that we deal with. And no wonder they tell us we're brave, because we are, and you are. And, you know, again, moving through this journey together, supporting each other in this way is super important. So thank you so much for joining me. And I will mention again, as I always do, that I have my spiritual awakening mentoring, my channeling, and my distance energy healing that I offer to you through my Purple Rain Healing website. I would absolutely love to work with you to help you through some of these things and assist you on your journey. So with that, I thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.